Hey folks, Deano here again. This time taking another look at an X-Men Hasbro Marvel Legends figure. This is Hank McCoy, otherwise known as Beast. Yeah, this one isn't quite from X-Men 97, but it is from the comics from around those times. Uncanny X-Men. And yeah, I know I said I wasn't going to get/review this guy, but I didn't buy it. I got it as a birthday present. So yeah, very grateful for that. But yeah, this is the more recent release. I was hoping that they would reissue him again with a more cartoon accurate head sculpt for X-Men 97. But it doesn't look as if we're getting a wave 3 or 4, at least not this year. We'll probably get it with a season 2 or that. But yeah, this is him as he appears in Uncanny X-Men. And believe it or not, this is the more expensive of the two versions of this figure. There was another one in a Caliban Build-A-Figure wave, I believe, with some heavier shading, and it didn't come with the stern face, which kind of put me off to begin with. But yeah, still not a perfect figure, unfortunately, but it's better than the original, that's for sure. So yeah, let's get him off the turntable and take a look at his box, shall we? So, just like the X-Men 97 figures, this guy comes in a retro style card back, which by all means everyone knows like how I dislike that. But at least this time it's actually based off actual retro card art from Toy Biz, so there is some justification to it. Still not happy at the fact that you have to basically rip into the packaging to get the figure out, but we deal with what we can. So as you can see, in the style of Toy Biz, it's also in the style of the comic art at the time. So you've got a picture of Hank there, you've got the Marvel Comics logo up the top with some images of the X-Men, and the Uncanny X-Men up the top. Now, one thing I do have to mention before I turn this round is the picture of Beast on the front isn't actually accurate to the figure. The head sculpt on the packaging has pupils, which Beast should have when he's not angry. But unfortunately, the figure doesn't have pupils for some bizarre reason. I don't know why that's the case. The only time he loses his eyes is when he goes berserk, but which isn't very often, at least in his blue form. So yeah, a bit annoyed at that. Also the fact that his stern face is, well, stern. Like, why not give us an angry face and a happy face? Because anyone that knows Beast knows that he isn't actually a beast, he just looks like one. He's actually one of the smartest minds on the planet, in whatever universe he's in. So, yeah, I don't really understand the fact that it would make him look annoyed all the time. But yeah, what are you going to do? On the back, again, looks like the old Toy Biz packaging. You've got a blurb there, a sort of 2D almost drawing of him, and a render on the side. You will notice, if I bring this closer in, can I get it in frame? Yeah. Yeah, the beakers that he comes with, a beaker and a flask. I think that's what they're called anyway. The bottoms of them are actually like fully filled in, as opposed to what we actually get, which I'll show off in the accessories. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't just do that. Like, mold it in 2 pieces, Hasbro, instead of 1. I mean, you molded it in 2 pieces anyway to put the inside of the flask in. Why not just make the top half clear plastic and then the bottom half the colour of plastic that you want it to look. So yeah, you'll also notice the glasses are sitting perfectly fine on his face. That is a lie. They do not do that. So yeah, only other thing you've got is some legalese and the usual. So yeah, without further ado, let's get the box out the way and take a look at his accessories. So in terms of accessories, the one that comes on him in the package is the lab coat. It's actually pretty decent. If a bit big, but then I suppose Hasbro aren't trying to go for utmost accuracy there. But yeah, it's a soft nylon material, I believe. It's stitched fairly well, and it lays well enough for its purpose, I suppose. Yeah, it's all stitched in the correct places and things like that. I won't be having him wear it on my display. Like, I've got all the X-Men in action poses. Beast will not be doing experiments on my shelf. So yeah, in terms of the other two accessories that go with the lab coat, we've got this one. Is this the flask? I think it might be. But yeah, as you can see, they've taken a piece of green plastic. Oop, if I don't drop it. Taken a bit of green plastic and popped it inside this clear plastic shell, which, yeah, would have made more sense since you were using two different types of material anyway, Hasbro. Just take this part, keep that clear, and mould this one in the colour that you then put in, and I have got drops of the day. Definitely. So yeah, doesn't really look quite right, that one. At least this one looks a bit better. The one with the X gene number 6 on the front, which is quite cool. That's been printed on, even though it looks a lot like a sticker. But yeah, inside, again, you've got some, what was that, magenta coloured plastic. Inside, you can actually make out on this one, the inside actually is a bit wider than the amount of plastic that they've used. So yeah, again, like, have the top piece be a separate piece, and the bottom half can be all coloured, and there you go, you've solved that problem, Hasbro. There is holes on the top of both of these. I believe some of the X-Men, or even just the Marvel Legends in general, do come with a sort of tiny effects for like guns and things like that. So I have a feeling you could probably pop those effects into those. Anyway, I've spent far too long looking at beakers. He comes with a pair of hands, two gripping hands on him in the package, and he comes with one fist and one splayed out hand, which you can use on the ground for him to be in a crouched or hunched position. I've seen a lot of people manage to get this guy balancing on that one hand, but yeah, I'm not sure how. He also comes with an alternate head. Mine's unfortunately has a bit of a paint mishap on one of the eyes, but yeah, still no pupils. But the black wash in the hair is really nice, and yeah, it looks quite good. I won't have it on him because I prefer the stern face. If I would have been okay with this one, I would have just got the Caliban one and took the shading off. But yeah, final accessory is his glasses. These notorious little pieces of plastic. Yeah. For some reason, like, I know this figure predates the Power Rangers Lightning Collection figures, but those actually had indents in the head where the glasses would fit into. For some reason, they've not bothered to do that with Beast. I think they've just reused an older pair of glasses, which aren't very well detailed. Like, I think it's clear plastic with a bit of black paint splotched on, which, I mean, it gets the point across. But yeah, the only way I've found to get these to actually stay on is to have them unnaturally high up on his face, which I guarantee it is not going to do now because I'm on camera. There we go. Yeah, give me 2 seconds. So there we go. I managed to sort of wedge them on, but they'll probably fall off at any point because they are not made to fit this face. So yeah, not that I'll have them on anyway, but it does look cool. You can also sort of hold it in this hand if you are incredibly careful with them. So if you just wedge it in between those 2 fingers, looks like he's taking them off. So yeah, decent enough. So let's take a look at the figure now, shall we? First things first, let's get the jacket off, because that is going to be a bit of a nuisance for articulation. Come on. There we go. So, comes off easy enough. You just have to pop the hands off, which, in their defence, do actually pop on and off quite easy compared to some of them. Unfortunately, I think because of Beast's sheer size, they've sort of used softer plastics, at least for the feet and arms. The legs are quite solid, a little bit soft, but you can deal with that. But the arms themselves are quite gummy, unfortunately. Bit of a shame. But yeah, in terms of details, he has a little bit of shading, not too much, but then he is based off the comics version, so I wouldn't expect a lot of shading. Plus that fits with the whole cartoon aesthetic that I'm going with, so I don't care about a lot of shading. He's got it where it counts. Some in the hair, a bit on his chest, and a little bit on his shoulders, just to accentuate them. But yeah, pretty much everything else is moulded plastic. I think down here, these top half of the pants are painted on, because it looks like just the blue fur plastic that they've used. But yeah, everything else is just moulded. Is the hair a separate piece? I think it might be, I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, looks good anyway. In terms of articulation, this guy kind of shines with articulation, honestly. He's got the ball hinge, or the disc hinge, on his neck, so you can look up a fair amount. You need to remember to put this guy back a bit on the camera, because he is quite big. You can look down, but not much. You can swivel, and a bit of tilt. And I think it comes off quite well, but with this finger still indisposed, I don't have much strength in that hand. Arms can go up about that far. That's a little bit disappointing, but you can make it work. Swivel there. Butterfly joint is incredible, especially going back the way. Like, that's how all of their figures should be. It takes up all of the space that they've cut out for them. And it can go forward a little bit. They could have done with cutting a little bit extra off the front. But yeah, that is decent enough. Bicep swivel. Double joint at the elbow, which gets actually really nice range for how bulky his arms are. Wolverine can take note of that. Hinge and swivel on the wrist. He has an ab crunch section, which actually gets decent range. Can go back that far. Can go forward that far on its own. And he also has an upside down ab crunch, which can go down that far. You put the two of them together, you get really far down. can't really go back much with the ab crunch, unfortunately, but the upper section does do a good job anyway. Legs, can carry about that far. I think, yep, there is, it's not a pull down hinge for the legs, it's more of a pop down, like both pop down at the exact same time, which gets him a bit more range to be able to do things. So if I do that, you hear the pop, it goes back up. He does have thigh rotation, but it's very tight. Double joint at the knee, again gets really good range for how bulky they are. And in one of the first cases I've ever seen on a Hasbro, he has toe articulation, which is very cool. Hinge can go back that far, forward that far, and good ankle pivot. So yeah, guys, all in all, a really decent figure. The question remains, is he worth the currently inflated price people are asking for him? I'll be completely honest, probably not. Like I said, if I hadn't got this purchased for me for my birthday, I probably would have just held off until they inevitably do reissue him in some form. But yeah, if you do manage to get a deal on him, I would definitely say go for it. The head might not be completely accurate, but it will do in the meantime. So yeah, guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below, and until next time, I'll see y'all later.